So when you're a trans woman who's in the dating scene, these are the four main types of guys that you're going to encounter. So the first type of guy, these are gonna be the guys who are just not okay with it at all. No matter how many times you try to change their mind or convince them, they're just not gonna be okay with it. They're usually gonna approach you at a bar or on a dating app, being really interested in you at first, but when you tell them you're trans, unfortunately, they just hold on to that stigma too much and they just are not going to be okay with it at all. They will just simply not talk to you and not engage with you. Usually, a lot of these guys are like Republicans, or they're just guys who have just seen the stigma and heard the bad things about trans women, and they don't want the judgment and they would rather just not deal with it at all. Now, the second type of guy on our list is usually the one that I encounter a lot, and I like to call them the facilitators. They will be okay with you being trans, they'll still talk to you, but they're gonna be very on the fence about it and are gonna be very weird about it. So they might be okay with you being trans, they're gonna talk to you, they might take you on a date. Usually they don't, but sometimes they will. But they're gonna constantly keep asking you questions about your transition, and they're also gonna constantly keep asking, does it make me gay if I like you? And I don't know how to deal with the fact that I'm attracted to you, blah, 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 blah. And they're just gonna be really on the fence about it. Now, a lot of times, these guys will try to hook up with you, and if they succeed, they're usually gonna only do it once, and then they'll book it and not talk to you again. Or they realize that they really like it, but that's only what it's gonna be. They don't wanna take you on a date. They don't just talk to you about anything other than, you know what? They're just gonna use you as a hookup because they are unsure about dating trans women. They don't know how to deal with the attraction. It still bothers them, even though they might be okay with you being trans. They're still like the first guy to where they just don't know how to deal with it. Now, the third type of guy is also one that is pretty common to most trans women, and these are the trans chasers is what we call them in the community, or we just call them chasers. Now, before I get all the comments telling me I'm not a chaser, I just like trans women, there is a difference between somebody who is simply trans attracted, who can appreciate trans women, to a chaser. The men who we call chasers are usually men who seek out trans women. They have a fascination, an obsession, a fetishization, and they seek out trans women purposely. And with these guys, they're almost never only talking to you. They're talking to every other trans woman in the town, and they basically are only seeing you for that obsession, that fascination, that fetishization that they have. So they, a lot of times, might even be comfortable dating you. However, the vibe is gonna come off that they're only doing it because you're trans and they're obsessed with it. Or they fetishize you sexually, to like over fetishize you and don't want to get to know your personality. They're gonna try to overly hook up with you. Or if they are the type that's gonna want to date you, usually they're talking to 10 other trans women and they're just obsessed. Obviously, me being trans is a small part of me. At the end of the day, I'm just Lexi, and I'm way more than that. And I don't want a guy who is dating me or talking to me just because of the fact that I'm trans and is obsessed with only that physical part of me. Now, the fourth and final guy that we encounter is the most rarest one and also the best one. And these are the guys who simply are just a regular cool guy who doesn't care that you're trans. Maybe they've never dated a trans woman before. Maybe they've dated one in the past, but they are usually very educated. And a lot of them usually I notice are in the military, doctors. They're really educated, or I don't know, I don't want to stereotype. They can be anywhere, but these are the guys who simply just don't care that you trans, see you as the beautiful woman that you are, and are gonna treat you how you want to be treated. They're gonna want to get to know you for who you are other than you being trans. They're going to respect you, and overall just a good guy. And you would think that would not be so hard to find, but these are the least common guys that we encounter. And when we do find one, we snatch them up quick and we appreciate it, because it's very uncommon that we find guys who just view us as regular women and are not gonna fetishize us, only hook up with us once, and actually see us for the people that we are. So yeah, that is the main 4 types of men that us trans women encounter. I'm not trying to label or categorize people. I'm just saying, with experience, these are the 4 main types of men that I encounter as a trans woman.